Before starting the facing, prep the hem. This is a piece of wiggin. I've marked a line 1/2 inch from the edge, which I've lined up with my finish line of the coat. Then I've done a long stitch just outside that line, catching only the slightest bit of wool. I've cross-stitched the vertical spots, like the edge of the hymo, the seam, the other seam, and at the back and the vent on the underlap side, I've trimmed it away 3/8 from the edge and straight stitched again. I cross-stitched the top where the support is happening. On the overlap side, the wiggin stops right next to the fold. I haven't caught anything to the pocket. Lay the right side of the facing to the right side of the jacket. I have made sure to match my plaid perfectly, which is why it's pinned like this instead of the regular way. Put a little pinch in the corner and a little pinch in the lapel. And then put a pin where you will stop stitching. At the iron, take the pin out and ease that extra bit of fabric into your edge. And flip it over and pin from the side that you're going to stitch on, which is the inside. Stitch right on the edge of the tape. Trim, clip the corners, press open, and then press it flat. Below the roll line, cheat the stitching line to the inside of the garment. Above the roll line, cheat the stitching line to the outside of the garment so that when the lapel folds back, you don't see the stitching at all. Prepare the back vent like the sleeve vent by marking the spot where the raw edges join, opening it up, drawing a stitching line between those spots through the corner. Trim your seam allowance for the hem down to 1/2 to 1/4 of an inch shorter than your bias. You don't want your hem allowance to be any less than 1.5 inches. Fold the right sides together. Press the corner open with a point presser. If you're having trouble getting into the very end, slide a knitting needle in. That will help you press it flat. Turn and press. On the underlap side, stitch the seam so that it wraps slightly to the inside. Put the lining together. Baste the center back together from the waist all the way up to 1 inch from the neck. Then stitch by machine that last bit, and then stitch again 3/4 to 1/2 inch from the finish line, coming back to the original line at the waist, and then continue to the top of the vent. Press all the center back seam allowance to one side so that it makes a pleat. Put the jacket on the dress form inside out, matching up all the seams and pinning near the bottom. Stitch the lining to the underside of the vent. Trim the lining away from the underlap side and slip stitch it down. Trim the lining seam allowance to 2 inches. Mark a line with chalk 1/2 inch up from the hem of the wool. Turn it under. Baste the lining to the jacket 3/4 of an inch away from the folded edge, and then peel it back and slip stitch just through the seam allowance to the hem of the coat.